excitement every night on NBC.
For life in the fast lane, be there.
Hey folks, it's that magical time once again. A time when all of your cares get ejected right out of the T-top. That's right. It's time for another installment in our Not a Director's Cut series. So KITT, activate your bad pun generator, because we are going to quench your thirst for this episode. It's time to drink up our next installment of Knight Rider, Not a Drop to Drink. I guarantee you'll find it refreshing. Ugh. Unfortunately, we do not have a promo for this episode. So, in its place, we're going to show you a vintage commercial promoting the entire series. Now, this one holds some special meaning to me. You see, when I was a young kid of about 7 years old, Knight Rider would play in 2-hour blocks each afternoon in syndication on WWOR Channel 9 out of Secaucus, New Jersey. I would watch it after school each day and record the episodes on my VCR. My love of the show, the props I own, even this channel, is due to WWOR playing the show so much. So, with that in mind, I present to you a vintage WWOR Knight Rider commercial circa 1987.
Turbo boost!
You're on track for action
Let's take him out.
with Michael Knight
Give me everything you got.
and KITT,
Michael, he's about to fire.
the indestructible car.
Let's show him what you can do, huh, buddy?
Together, they're unstoppable.
They tried to kill your brother at the hospital.
Television's top crime-fighting team, the Man, the Machine, David Hasselhoff stars. Knight Rider.
Fasten your seatbelts for 2 hours of Knight Rider, today at 3 on Channel 9.
Production 57304, Not a Drop to Drink. Written by Hannah L. Shearer. Directed by Virgil W. Vogel. This episode originally aired on NBC Friday night, November 5th, 1982 at 9 p.m. It was filmed October 1st through 11th, 1982. That's 10 days. It was the 6th episode to air, but it was the 8th episode to be produced. The synopsis reads as follows. Michael helps a feisty widow protect her land rights against a ruthless rancher intent on stealing her water. Okay, let's get into it. So right off the bat, we meet Francesca Morgan, played by Sondra Curry. Sondra is a veteran of TV and movie. Besides her appearance here, she appeared in other 80s and 70s classics, Three's Company, Airwolf, The Golden Girls, Simon and Simon, Columbo, Murder, She Wrote. So she's had quite the career. An interesting trivia note, she is married to this day to Alan J. Levy, who directed Knight Rider 2000. And here's where we meet Kevin and then Francesca's dad. Kevin, on the left, is played by a kid named Bumper Yothers. His real first name is Corey, but at this time he went by Bumper. Bumper is actually the younger brother of Tina Yothers, who was a star on the other 80s sitcom Family Ties. And then on the right is Harry Carey Jr., a veteran actor, even by this point in 1982, Navy veteran, and then he appeared in a number of different westerns with John Wayne, Legend of Jesse James, Have Gun Will Travel, just a real real Hollywood legend right there that they got on Knight Rider right off the bat. And then here we have Susan Wade, played by Lynn Hamilton. This is her one and only appearance in the series. Another, very accomplished actress, appeared in Starsky and Hutch, Barnaby Jones, The Waltons, Quincy, Riptide, Webster, Hunter, Golden Girls. So she's quite accomplished for this episode as well. So did you ever notice how Devin occasionally rubs his ear? And this is the first time we see Devin rubbing his ear. Years and years ago, we made contact with a niece of Edward Mulhare's. And she told us that Edward rubbing his ear is a way of him to say hello to his family and friends. So anytime you see him rubbing his ear, that is Edward's way of greeting his family, wherever they may be watching. Pretty cool, huh? And I always love this scene. Here's another instance of Michael trying to put the moves on Bonnie. What have you done to the monster now? And of course, it's lame, and it just makes Michael look like a fool. But again, this is them pushing to try and, have that tension and that sexual chemistry between the two of them. And you can see here that Michael thinks something's happening, and Bonnie's just getting ready to show him the grappling hook. And it's a lot of innuendo and different things like that is awkward, especially knowing where these two characters end up. And here we have, like I said before, Bonnie. This is one of the first new features that gets added to KITT, the grappling hook, which would become a staple of KITT, going forward. And then we cut to a shot of Herb Bremen's ranch. And if you remember in the previous episode, Just My Bill, we used the same location. And unfortunately, it's no longer there, but it was used in 2 episodes in a row. How about that? And then here we see what's supposed to be Francesca riding up on a horse. But if you look real closely, there's no way that's Sandra Curry. That is a stunt double right there, and they didn't go to any trouble. They didn't try very hard to hide it, but clearly not Sandra Curry. See, that is Sandra Curry. That's not Sandra. Not. One more time. Sandra. Not. Still pretty neat. And then here we have this guy in the middle, Jason Evers. You may recognize him. He reappears again in Halloween Night. So Michael is barricaded in by a couple of bulldozers, and KITT decides to pull a ski mode. And I'm sure most of you know this, but for those of you that don't realize this, KITT did not actually jump up and start skiing in reverse. All they did was reverse the film. And if you look here, this is one of the first frames right before KITT lifts off, and you can see that KITT, leans down first and then hops back up, which of course in reverse is the car falling down and then the suspension bringing it back up. But it's actually just the whole scene is just filmed in reverse. And once again, this is Buzz Bundy. There's the handle he's holding on to stabilize himself, and we just have a standard Trans Am dashboard and a round steering wheel in this car. This is the stunt car. Just once again, for this episode, they still only have the 5 cars, 4 Trans Ams, and the Flivver car. And I've noticed some of you in the comments have asked about the Flivver car, and you are spelling it differently and doing all kinds of different things. So it's probably not coming through as to what I'm actually saying. So the word I'm saying is Flivver, Flivver. And if you were to Google that word, the definition of Flivver is a cheap car or aircraft, especially one in bad condition. So the crew, for some reason, decided to label that car as the Flivver car. Maybe because it was a cheap car, it was just a dune buggy with a shell, and I don't know, but flivver, F-L-I-V-V-E-R. It's a real word. And here we go. Here, we'll go back one. So here you can see this is the start, just like what I was saying, and then it goes down, and then it pops up, just like that. And this is neat because once, whoops, let me go back. So once again, we see a nice undershot of KITT. It wouldn't be too much longer before they start putting panels under here, or they don't even show the underside. But once again, the stunt car, you can see here, you get a really good shot of the cutouts that they used for the oil slick and the pilot in the demolition derby. These are the two giant cutouts that they put in there. And you can also get a good look at the true dual exhaust that they had on this car. So there's one pipe there, the other pipe here, and it feeds into a single long muffler with two outputs as opposed to the Trans Am dual resonator. So they switched all that out right from the get-go. And we can see it still has, at this point, it looks like it still has its factory metric 200 transmission, still has its factory blue Chevy 305. So there you go. And then, of course, the end of this scene shows KITT coming back down. But if you look really closely right here, you can see the ramp. They didn't do too good of a job of hiding it. So again, this film is still being filmed in reverse. So you see KITT coming backwards, and then he kind of comes down here, and then that's it. So moving forward, one thing you'll notice about this episode is for most of the episode, KITT's scanner has a bulb out. And here's the perfect example of that. You can see that these 7 work. This last bulb is out for some reason for most of this episode. And what's neat is, so this scene right here, this turns into this. It was filmed for this episode. This scene of the scanner turning on, but it would become stock footage that would be used throughout. A lot of the series. I won't say the whole series, but at least the next couple seasons. But in this stock footage, this bulb is still out. So you'll see the stock footage show up, and every time this bulb is out, you think they would have, made sure that was working properly if they were going to use this footage throughout the, for other episodes in the series. And then of course, they've got what looks to be gaff tape covering the fog light openings, and we've got some chips, some stone chips here, and we've got tape right here holding on this this turn signal cover. And then right here you can see we've got 2 screws or rivets, and it looks like there's almost an L bracket under here kind of holding it all together. So pretty neat. Back in the good old days, during Knight Rider's original NBC airings, viewers were treated to something called a commercial bumper. This was just a quick segment stating things like, "Knight Rider will be right back," or "We now return to Knight Rider," things like that. Did you know there were 7 variations of this commercial bumper for the show? No? Well, there were, and we're going to present all 7 of them to you right now.
Knight Rider will continue in a moment. Knight Rider will return after these messages and station identification. Knight Rider will continue in a moment. Knight Rider will return after these messages and station identification.
And then we have a nice scene where KITT is trying to stop the bull that got loose. And I always love this scene of KITT because he just looks so patched together. This is the jump car, the roll-caged, acrylic windowed jump car. And if we zoom in on it just a little bit here, we can see it also has the rubber shell on it, which is why that this looks so funky. We've got some damage here to the nose of KITT, but if you look in here, you can tell that this isn't glass, this is plexi. It's real flat, and if you look real close, you can see the roll cage inside. See right here, there's the cross beam top right there. So, and then we move forward again, and now this is still in the same scene, but now this is the stunt car that they have. And take a look at this right-hand side. Car's just mangled, hit something. But you've got a dent here, the whole fender's peeled out. There's a giant crack in the nose right here. On the inside, we can see a seatbelt. We can see a seatbelt guide right here. No tow bar, details like that. And then this is where KITT jumps over the bull. And beside the fact that there's clearly a driver in here when KITT's supposed to be driving by himself. But this is the flivver car. And if you look, you can tell that it's not a Trans Am. Looks similar, but it's not. And then during the takeoff, if you look real closely, you've got either the scanner bar or the scanner lens that comes loose right there. Flying over. And then, bang, look at that. Bends the whole corner in. But then when the car lands, it bounces back up because it's made out of rubber. And then, after all that, you see all the versions of KITT. You see the acrylic windowed jump car, you see the stunt car, you see the flivver car, then all of a sudden it's back to the hero car, all nice and clean, and for the hero. And here's another example. This bulb is out. The third bulb in the scanner is out in this scene, and the scanner's only going in one direction. It's another instance where they have the pattern set to one of the 8 choices that that original John Ward scanner had, but bulb out and it's only going in one direction. We can tell it's the hero car. We see the Michael Chaffee overhead, and you can just tell by the fit of the nose and different things that this is the nicest car that they have. White wire alert right there. Got to point it out. And got to point this out. John Ward nose. Here we are 6 episodes in, and we're still seeing the pilot presentation John Ward style nose. And we're moving ahead. This is where Michael is supposedly in the back seat, and they're going to pretend to be an alien. This is the hero car, and it's just being towed. Obviously, you can't see that underneath here, but it's currently being towed. Not much more to say about it in this scene. And if you look here, though, they give you a point of view. Here's, I think it's Alex running away, but a point of view inside the car. And this is now no longer the hero car. This is the stunt car. And if you look closely, you can tell it's wearing the rubber shell because you can see the cow induction Trans Am hood here, but then you see a second layer here. This is the rubber shell. And I think I've got a better screenshot of it coming up. So here we are. This is back to the hero car. And something new that they've added in are, and I mentioned this in the last episode about the blackouts in the headrest. So you could have, a driver sitting behind there and driving, pretending the car would drive by itself without them being able to see the stunt driver's face in that hole. But here, and in some of these early episodes, you'll notice that it's not a fabric, but it's like a piece of plexiglass that reflects. And this is a perfect example of that. They would move away from the plexi and pretty much have just fabric in there for all of the cars, specifically because of this reflection. They didn't want that. And here we go. KITT's, scaring the crap out of Alex here. Not much to point out except notice how KITT's mirror is pointed down so the reflection of the camera crew wouldn't be seen. And then after he scares him, KITT backs up. This is the hero car, but you'll notice it doesn't have a blind drive seat in it, and that's because what they did, and they did this in the last episode too with in Just My Bill. Remember that scene I showed you where there was a guy hunched down in the passenger side of KITT just to make him back up without using a blind drive seat? Well, they did the same thing here as well. They just had a guy hunched down in there that would release the brake and lightly hit the gas, and KITT would back up. Since there was nothing around, they didn't have to worry about hitting anything. And here we go with Michael going to rescue Francesca, and another instance. This is that same car we saw during the bull scene, but you kind of get a look at the passenger side a little bit better, and you can see that the fender is all crumpled up, and the hood's mismatched, and there's a giant crack in the front bumper there. Yeah, look at that. It's just a mess. And you can see, if you look real closely, this piece of the bumper has kind of fallen, but you still have the plexi here, and it's in one piece, and it's connected here, but there's a giant gap over here. It's just a mess. Yeah, there's one more shot of it as it drives by. And here's the better shot I was telling you about the cowl. So you can see right here you've got the mesh screen, this and the opening for the cowl hood. This is all factory GM, but then this piece up here, this is the rubber shell sitting on top of it. And of course then we cut to that same car. Now it has the rubber shell on it, the same car that was crashed on the side. You can see there's the crack in the bumper, but now it has the rubber shell on it because it's about to crash through the wall. And then of course they crash through, they rescue Francesca, car turns around, and just another good shot of the stunt car with the rubber shell on it. And then KITT manages to fire his rocket boosters and build a dam and stop the water from flooding. Most of you know this already, but this is footage that was reused from the 1978 Superman movie. And here we go towards the end of the episode. We can see KITT's still got some scanner issues. This is the hero car, and that same bulb that I showed you after the bull was captured, the same bulb is out right here. Now, let's take a moment to check out some behind the scenes and promotional photos from Not a Drop to Drink. And with that, we are done with Not a Drop to Drink. I hope you enjoyed it. Be sure, if you haven't already done so, please subscribe to our channel, and please share this video and give us a big thumbs up. Up next, we'll see what happens when Devin moves from the Foundation to the Slammer in No Big Thing. Catch you later, guys. Talk to you soon.
And now, while we listen to Joe's selection of Knight Rider music that we received directly from Don Peake himself, we'd like to thank these Patreon supporters. Look at you guys scrolling up the screen to my right. Wait a minute, how can you tell which side is my right, since you can't see me because I'm not on camera? Oh well, you know what I mean. We're featuring these fine supporters at our Knight Rider Prop Restorer level. Thank you very much for your support. And for those of you at the Knight Rider History Hunter level, we're recognizing you right now in the description. Now, if you enjoyed seeing this golden nugget of Knight Rider history being rescued from obscurity, then please consider supporting us on Patreon. Your support would empower us to bring you even more of these historical nuggets. We are the Knight Rider Historians. Till next time, take care, everybody. Bye-bye.